Hello. Namaste, beautiful souls. My name is Sadhana, and welcome to my channel. There we are, all the windows open. So tonight, I am here briefly, hopefully, try to keep this under 30 minutes. I have been contemplating creating a tarot challenge for a little while, and following the Gratitude 2020 Gratitude Tarot Challenge 2021, some things started to become clearer. And so tonight I'm going to talk about a challenge of compassion that we can use through tarot cards. Welcome, Tiny Trinkets and Tarot. Hello, Jen. Yes, hello again. And Andrew and Aaron, welcome. In the description box below, I put a couple of topics or categories, things I wanted to talk about just to kind of keep me on track here. This is, I also want to say right off the top that this can also be a very triggering challenge. And as this evolves, there may be some days or some things that are just too personal to share. And I just want to kind of put that out there, because some of the things that I might talk about tonight might stir something up in you and might trigger you. So know that this is coming from my heart, from love, from a place of service and light. And I'm here to offer this as an invitation to healing, really. So I just want to kind of go through in order with some of the things that came up, and I have written down a few things to help keep me on track, because I can get very distracted. So we're moving into the energy of this full moon in January. And one of the astrologers that I follow, I'm just going to put her blog post here. Hello, Masha. Ananda Shri, and when she does the new moon and full moon blogs, she also does a YouTube. So there's a short video that you can watch as well too. And in the Vedic astrology, she's a Vedic astrologer, this particular full moon is in the nakshatra called Pushya. And she writes, this full moon calls in the nourishing spiritual principles of compassion and service. And so when I read that this morning, I thought, oh my God, I need to pull this together and do this tonight so that this tarot challenge can be in alignment with the energy of the full moon. When things like that just kind of click, 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 it just makes so much sense. So there's that. When I was in the gratitude challenge with Jen, and all of these things were going through my mind, I was reminded of the teachings. Now, these teachings come through the Buddha, they come through yoga, they come through the Upanishads, and I'm sure somewhere in through other sacred texts, we can find these same teachings as well. And sometimes they're referred to as the four locks and the four keys, four noble truths. There's different ways, slightly different vocabulary and translations around some of these teachings. And the particular word that I always like to come back to is Maitri in Sanskrit, which kind of means friendliness. These words are a little hard to translate. And another one is Karuna, which refers to compassion. And so what I was thinking about was all the different times that I have been studying the Yoga Sutras and the different times I've worked with other teachers, yoga teachers, classes, self-study, and so forth. This particular sutra, which is the 33rd Sutra, is one that reminds us that if we can, sometimes we have to do the opposite of what we're feeling. Sometimes it's almost a fake it till you make it kind of thing. And I want to explain kind of more of what I mean. So sometimes when we see a happy person, when we see somebody that's all kind of bubbly and joyful, either they've succeeded in something, or they've won something, or they just got married, or whatever the reason is, not always do we feel joyful for them. Sometimes we feel maybe a hint of jealousy, or we might feel that they didn't deserve it, or something like that. And so this practice of compassion is much more than compassion for people who are suffering. This is a practice of learning to find love in our heart for every body and for every soul. And so when we in our heart are feeling some of those things I just mentioned, and we're put in a situation that makes us feel uncomfortable, the practice is to be happy for them. Even if it feels like it's a practice. It's exactly what it is. And so this is a practice of compassion. I want to give you a couple other examples. Hello, V. Kestrel. Welcome. And Vina's here as well, too. Hello, Vina. Another example might be and I'm sorry, I also went to my bookshelf and I just remembered that I have this book. So this is a book that I'm going to reread during this challenge. And I'm going to come back to this in just a second. So here's another example. Perhaps you're around somebody who's not well, who is sick, mentally sick, emotionally sick, physically sick. And sometimes we can feel repulsed. Sometimes we can feel, oh, they deserved it. I mean, all kinds of things can arise. And there's been lots of situations where I have had my eyes opened, especially in travel, and learned that what I was actually seeing with the person who was ill, I had no idea what the backstory was. And so there's a lot of different situations we come into in life that make us feel really uncomfortable. And part of the medicine of working through this uncomfortableness is to find love in our heart, is to find compassion in our heart, to find compassion for the beggars, to find compassion for the ill, to find compassion for the rich, to find compassion for the murderers, the prisoners. And if you are having a really hard time with that, there's actually a little section in this book that talks about how the Dalai Lama, I believe it was in his 32nd year, maybe his 33rd year, that he really started embracing this practice. And there's so many lovely quotes about compassion from the Dalai Lama. This is a really, really good reference. And then also and a lot of this is very kind of mumbo jumbo because I decided today that I had to do this today. This book here, which is written by Stephen Cope, and I've shared some of his other books before. This particular book is it's a story of his experience at Kripalu with a bunch of other yogis. And as everybody's stuff is coming to the surface, all of their problems with their families and their relationships and so forth, he applies all of those to the different teachings of the Yoga Sutras. It's a really brilliant book. And so if you need any resources during this time, please let me know, because I have quite a few different suggestions. Okay. Oh, Jamie's here as well too. Hello to Jamie. Okay. And then down below, I also wanted to connect this to the gratitude challenge, because gratitude is medicine for the heart space. It helps us to move through challenges in the heart. And then the other thing that the yogis teach us is that compassion is right here as well too. And if we truly want to heal grief and all of the difficult emotions that linger in this chakra, in this particular heart space, compassion is one of the medicines that we are taught to come back to again and again. And this also extends to self-compassion. Self-compassion, compassion for you, compassion for your actions, compassion for your past actions, so that we can be present and heal in the present. So that was another piece that just totally made sense for me, because we're moving from gratitude. I'm moving from a gratitude practice to a compassion practice. And then the last piece that really made sense to me was that, like, the why of all of this, and why through the teachings of Buddhism, why through the teachings of yoga, going back to older sacred texts like the Upanishads, have these teachings been so prevalent. And the bottom line to all of this is because we want to create peace in the mind. We want to still this noisy contraption up here. And the practice of compassion, which I'm using, I know these, like the Four Noble Truths and the four different, what did I call them? Keys, locks and keys, sometimes they're called, is, there's slightly different nuances between the four different teachings. But I think if we can broaden the context of all of these, they kind of all fall into that space of love for one another, and to really to know and have faith and trust that if we can follow this ancient wisdom, that we will become more peaceful, more serene. Our minds will slow down. We will sleep better. I mean, there's selfish motivations for this kind of practice as well, too. And I know Jen also, addressed the benefits to the mind of the gratitude practice too. We come into a completely different frequency. That's the word. I know I use that word a lot. We come into a completely different frequency when we are in the mood of compassion. Patanjali, who is the sage attributed to scribing the Yoga Sutras, reminds us that there is a yogic way of approaching all people, no matter what behaviors and attitudes they may be exhibiting at the moment. This tool will help anyone maintain peacefulness through anything. Keep this sutra with you as you move through, the quote I'm reading, as he says, through the holiday season. So you need this through the most challenging of times. So what I'm proposing is that you choose a tarot deck that triggers you. You choose a tarot deck that you know has some difficult images. You may not necessarily draw those images, but the challenge is to find the compassion in the lesson of the card. Now, many of you did the gratitude challenge, and you know what came out of the card might not necessarily be the RWS meaning from the card. It might be a bird in a corner, or a color, or a feeling. And so this isn't about your analysis of the card. This is about your experience of 24 hours with reflecting on the mood of the frequency of compassion as inspired by the card that you drew the night before. Okay, so we're going to do this exactly the same way that then was done in the gratitude challenge. And if you want to do it a different way, you do it a different way. And yeah, and if you have any difficulties with this, like I said, if you need help or resources, there's a lot of very wise souls in our tarot tribe, and I'm sure that we will all support you through those challenges and through those triggers. Okay. And so I am going to choose my card now for the next 24 hours. And it is my intention to be on at 10 p.m. every night for the next week. And if for any reason, yeah, so I might be pre-recorded and with a premiere, or it might be a live. So that's my intention. Okay. So where does, it's hard to find the words, isn't it? It's hard to find the question. So my question is, where would I benefit or grow most from focusing the frequency of compassion over the next 24 hours? Thank you, Masha. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm actually feeling really, like, I think this is big. I'm feeling a little nervous. Okay, so, and I have chosen the Hush Tarot because this is a deck that has upset me on multiple occasions. So that's why I'm choosing. Okay, these cards are just flying everywhere. So I'm gonna go with this one that just popped out. Okay, not a scary looking card. I believe this is a Six of Swords. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take a photo of the card, and I'm going to have it with me over the next 20 hours or so, and just see what comes up with me with the frequency of compassion. There's some words on the bird here that I'll have to get my magnifying glass and look at as well too. And there's some bees on this card too, and bees are a really kind of big part of something to do with my healing as well too. I've been told by a couple of different readers that I need to work with the bees, so that'll be very interesting. Okay. So yes, I think Jamie, this could be super deep, and so perhaps some of you might want to do this on Instagram. You can do this with a VR. You could do this in any way. Keep it very personal. And I know that some people did did all 7 in one video and something like that. So yeah. So do you have any questions or anything that you would like to ask me? And I didn't see any questions. Let me close that one. I love all of Aaron's emojis. And I know Andrew had a question near the beginning, and you were talking about an tarot astrology challenge. I will look. I haven't seen it, so I will check that out. Yeah. Okay. Well, I leave this for your reflection, and I will check the tag on a daily basis to see if anybody is going to join along and do this with me. And I'm hoping that I can also share with you a daily quote. The other thing I didn't mention was there's a lot of memes that come to mind, and I'm sure you've all seen different ones, things like to the, don't judge somebody because you don't know what they're going through, that kind of thing. When people are quiet, we don't know why they're quiet. When people are acting a certain way, we don't know why they're acting a certain way. And so I'm going to try to find a quote or something from a meme or something to share with you too each day as I come on. Always up for an exciting deep dive. Where was your... I'm just trying to find Jen's. There we go. This is the one I was looking for. Okay. So you're welcome. And yeah, if for any reason I don't, so please use the hashtag as is in the description of this video, and then I will be able to either find you on Instagram or YouTube. Okay. Oh, that's great, Erin. Yeah, so maybe that will help you move through all of that. Okay. So thank you. Good night, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Namaste.